Everybody, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for joining me today. So I wanted to take you through sort of a day in my life of what I typically or generally eat during the day. So when it comes to anything that I do, I try to be very intentional in terms of prevention, and I tend to shoot for an anti-inflammatory diet. The reason being is because inflammation really drives the pathogenesis of many and mostly preventable diseases that do occur here in the West or in the United States. I can really only speak for the United States here, but things like diabetes, heart disease, obesity, hypertension, things like that really are somewhat debilitating. Part of it is driven by inflammation, and really the large part of the aging process is also driven by inflammation in the body that's caused by exogenous factors in our environment, and particularly in regard to what we eat. In the West, the sort of standard American diet, the SAD diet, aptly named or aptly acronymed, is high in refined carbohydrates and sugars and trans fats and high in rancid proteins and fats and oils and things like that really drive inflammation in the body, and it's devoid of antioxidants and devoid of foods that have anti-inflammatory components. And for me, because I am very preventative and very intentional about the prevention, and especially in terms of the aging process, not only in terms of the visible signs of aging. The visible signs of aging is definitely driven by inflammation that occurs from, or that's induced from our diet, but also that is induced from stress and things like that. But also the biological aspect of the aging process and longevity. Inflammation is associated with telomere length, and I'll explain that later on in the video, but telomeres basically protect the ends of chromosomes, and there's a strong theory suggesting that longer telomere length is associated with longer lifespan. So it really is about a holistic, intentional program designed to slow the aging process and prevent the aging process, really prevent premature and accelerated rates of aging. So it's not only just diet and lifestyle and exercise and stress management, but it's also, skincare, which is predominant on this channel, sun protection, sunscreen, making sure that you are taking care of your body. And I think that nutrition plays a huge part in anti-aging, especially being intentional, and I'm using that word a lot, but really choosing foods that are low on the inflammatory scale or the scale of inflammation, and choosing foods that are actually anti-inflammatory. And a lot of these are going to come from plant foods, and I will just show you what I eat throughout the day. Typically, it changes throughout the day, but this is going to be my day-to-day, and it is what I eat quite frequently. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get started so you can see what I'm doing today. So every morning is the same. I start off with a cup of coffee, and I typically use dark roast coffee. I've been really liking this brand, the Allegro Extra Dark French Roast. French roast is super dark, and this is the extra dark, so love that. I'm pretty simple and minimalistic when it comes to my coffee. Coffee is the #1 source of antioxidants in the American diet, which doesn't say much about the American diet, considering that a lot of people drink their coffee from coffee shops like Starbucks. Not to diss on Starbucks, I do go to Starbucks too and I like it. Most people do get coffee that has cream, milk, sugar, blended up to have a lot, in my opinion, to negate the health benefits of coffee and the antioxidants and the polyphenols contained within the coffee. So for me, I just drink my coffee black, and I've been doing that for quite some time. It's just a personal preference. I'm not judging anyone who, gets lattes and gets sugar. Like I enjoy lattes, like sugar-free, unsweetened lattes. I'm not trying to judge anyone or anything like that, but the sugar, the cream in drinks like that, I think contributes to advanced glycation end products and glycated proteins. It really negates the health benefits, and especially the anti-aging benefits of coffee. Surprisingly, dark roast contains less caffeine than lighter roast by volume. So when I think the coffee beans are roasted, they lose mass, and the caffeine is also burnt off a little bit. And so by volume, at least, because lighter beans I think are denser, you have less caffeine than lighter roast in the dark roast. So I typically weigh my beans out and my water out, which I'm going to do right now, so it doesn't really matter. But I think that, that's just something to think about if you are sensitive to caffeine and you do just like scoop out your coffee. That's something good to know, that you have a little bit less caffeine there. Darker roast, it doesn't really impact significantly the antioxidants or the polyphenols. And the reason why I like dark roast too is just because it's a taste preference as well. I find lighter roast to be a lot more acidic and sour, and it's just not very appealing to my palate. I just love bold, smooth flavors from the dark roast. So I'm just gonna measure out, typically I measure out about 400 grams, and you probably saw me do this in my coffee vlog if it's already posted, but measure out 400 grams of water and match it with about 20 to 22 grams, I think, of coffee beans. And then I grind it in the grinder, which is right here. I don't know if you can see it, but grind it in the grinder, put it in a coffee filter to filter out any oils and things like that, and then give it a drink. Okay, so I have the beans, the dark roast ground, so I just need to get a, let's see, a filter. I use the Chemex filters, the round ones, like so. I used to use the unbleached brown ones. I can't really find it in this though to fit this type of carafe, so I've been using this for now anyway. You can't really see that, but I put the coffee in the filter and now I'm going to brew. So in terms of anti-aging, coffee in general, like I said, oh no, I got some of the grounds on the scale. Yeah, coffee in general is a good source of polyphenols. It's a great source of antioxidants. Pure coffee without any milk or sugar, that's gonna be your best bet because you're not diluting the drink, and you're also just, you're not getting those extra carbohydrates, those refined carbohydrates that's going to result in glycated proteins in the skin. Like I mentioned in my coffee vlog, there are some studies suggesting that coffee, and there's an association between coffee consumption and reduced erythema and UV-induced pigmentation, suggesting that the consumption of the polyphenols in coffee can actually help reduce or protect the skin from UV damage and photoaging. So starting your day off with a beverage that contains antioxidants like coffee or tea, black tea, green tea, oolong tea, white tea that has caffeine in it, I think that's a good jump start to your day that sets your day off right. But again, making sure that it is, if anything, if you're going to put milk in it, something maybe like a dairy-free milk that's unsweetened, that doesn't have a bunch of carbohydrates in it, or it might not taste that great. I don't know. I've never really put almond milk or coconut milk or oat milk in something like that. And maybe if you have to sweeten it using stevia, monk fruit, something that's sort of like no calorie, no sugar, I think that will be your best bet, just because that will help reduce your sugar intake. And it's not necessarily the calories that I'm concerned of personally, but it really is the sugar that I really just don't want to intake, especially the first thing in the morning. I think those drinks from the coffee shops are more or less milkshakes. So coffee doesn't necessarily give you energy unless you're, again, putting milk or sugar in there, then you're getting energy from that. But coffee stimulates the nervous system. So if you do have issues with anxiety or anything like that, or I think reducing that caffeine and that stimulation of the nervous system is probably good. But for me, I feel like the coffee and the caffeine kind of wakes up my skin in a certain respect too. I feel like I look better with a little bit of caffeine in the morning. So of course, one thing that I forgot to mention about this is that yes, coffee does contain, in addition to the antioxidant compounds, anti-inflammatory compounds. Research suggests that, or there are studies showing that the consumption of coffee, an association between the consumption of coffee and lower markers of inflammation like IL-6, interleukin-6, which is an inflammatory marker, and that digestion may help release or increase the bioactivity of these compounds. So yes, coffee can be anti-inflammatory, but again, making sure that you're not using sugar and dairy milk, because those are pro-inflammatory, and that's going to, again, negate the beneficial effects of coffee. So drinking it black can, hopefully ensure that you're getting those anti-inflammatory compounds and that anti-inflammatory effect. Hello there. Okay, so it's 11:42 in the morning. I had my coffee, I did some filming, and now I am going to have some tea. Usually in the mid-morning, I do drink either caffeinated tea or an herbal tea. Today I'm drinking the Darjeeling Harney and Sons black tea. I love black tea. I love all types of tea from the Camellia sinensis plant. Tea in general is anti-inflammatory, especially Camellia sinensis, black tea, white tea, green tea, oolong tea. These are going to be very anti-inflammatory, a great anti-inflammatory beverage in addition to coffee. Also high in antioxidants. Tea, especially white tea, may help to reduce the generation of matrix metalloproteinases, which are enzymes in the skin that degrade collagen and elastin. But yeah, I'm going to just measure out a teaspoon or so, maybe like a rounded teaspoon, I think, for my purposes. I've heated up the water to 212 degrees Fahrenheit. I think that's probably the best temperature for black teas. White teas and green teas, I think you need less of I think you need like 175 or something like that in degrees Fahrenheit. Pour about 8 ounces over the tea. Now, you didn't see me eat breakfast this morning because I wasn't super hungry, and so sometimes I just work through in the morning if I'm not hungry and eat lunch, like an early lunch, which I'm going to do in about 15 minutes around noon. I don't always do this. Sometimes I do eat breakfast. I'll eat either oatmeal with flaxseed and walnuts and blueberries, or I'll eat yogurt with walnuts and blueberries, or eggs, or a green smoothie or something like that. And today I'm not going to be doing that because I'm not super hungry. I am getting hungry now since it's getting close to noon, so I will be eating lunch. But there is something to say about intermittent fasting in terms of lowering inflammation and really just reducing the aging process. There's been several studies, and I'm not here to recommend intermittent fasting. You know, it has its pros and its cons, and I don't do it super regularly. I just do it, and not always really intentionally. I just do it because, you know, I might not be hungry in the morning, so I'll just eat lunch and then eat dinner. But I never skip lunch or skip dinner. But intermittent fasting there's been strong associations between increased telomere length, and telomeres are at the end of chromosomes, protect chromosomes and DNA from unraveling and fraying. And there's an association between longer telomeres and longevity. And so it's been an association between that, calorie restriction with longevity, and also lowered signs of physical aging. There is some studies suggesting that because you're eating fewer calories and you're not getting carbohydrates in, you are reducing the glycation and glycated proteins. Collagen in the skin is a protein, so reducing glycated end products from carbohydrates, which turn into sugars and link up with proteins in the body, can theoretically slow the visible signs of aging down as well. But again, I think it's moderation is key. I think doing it intuitively and not super intentionally or adhering to a strict schedule, I think it's something that you really need to work with a doctor and a clinician, a dietitian, someone like that who can really guide you through healthy dietary lifestyles. But for me, I just find like calorie restriction or intermittent fasting, I do it just because I may not be hungry in the morning, not intentionally. I don't adhere to it strictly. I'm still getting all the nutrients I need and all the calories I need to maintain my life and my health. And yeah, this is just what I'm doing today. And it does, there are some studies showing also a correlation between fewer calorie intake or intermittent fasting with lower inflammatory markers and lower inflammation. So anyway, I'm going to enjoy my tea. I'm going to let it brew for about 10 minutes. I'm going to enjoy my tea, and then I will make lunch. All right, it is time for lunch, and I'm going to be doing a green smoothie, which I've already alluded to in the previous video. It is 12:21, so I'm going to just show you kind of what I do freehand. I don't really like measure a bunch of things out, but I've been doing this for quite a while, so I just am used to like using all of these products. One thing that I'm missing here is avocado. Avocado provides extra creaminess to the smoothie, doesn't provide any significant taste, but it provides extra nutrition and monounsaturated fats, which are very, very anti-inflammatory and hydrating and great for the skin, very nourishing for the skin. I don't have avocado with me today, so I won't be using that, but it is a very good creamy fat to use in your smoothie, and again, doesn't really impart a significant taste. But yeah, I have a bunch of ingredients out right now, and the primary thing that I want to include in here are the greens and the vegetables. You can get a lot of vegetable servings in this green smoothie. And I don't do green smoothies every single day because uncooked and raw greens like the kale that I'm using probably aren't, they're extremely nutritious, highly anti-inflammatory, but there are some concerns with thyroid issues, I think, like the goitrogens that actually cook out, and phytonutrients are like anti-nutrients that prevent absorption of nutrients. I think that when you break it down in like a Vitamix, it sort of releases that and your body can absorb the nutrients easily. Don't quote me on that. I'm not doing research in a laboratory or anything like that, but that's just sort of the consensus that I've seen. But yeah, I try to do an even amount of raw vegetables and cooked vegetables just so I'm getting a good balance. A good balance, moderation is key when it comes to dietary practices. So what I'm gonna do is, I know I say I don't measure things out, but I have a scale and I'm gonna be using that just to measure out the serving sizes of the greens. And I think a serving size is about an ounce, which is 28 grams. So I'm gonna be using, I might be doing 90 to 120 grams, which is 3 to 4 servings of vegetables. So I have these organic greens, which I got from Whole Foods. I need to use this up because I've had it for a little bit. And this contains, I think I've had this in a previous vlog, but it contains baby chard, baby spinach, and baby kale. And I also have just like the regular kale that I'm gonna be adding in here. And yeah, I'll be doing that after I add the liquid portion, which is almond milk. This is organic, unsweetened almond milk, no sugar, and 2 grams of carbs, 1 grams of fiber, and 1 grams of protein. Now, almond milk, it's basically water and like filtered water and thickener agent. I mean, there's definitely almonds in here, but it's not like almond milk that you would make at home. I think it would be higher in calories and more fat, but it is creamier, which I like. So I'm just gonna measure about a cup of almond milk for the green smoothie. That should be enough liquid. I think once like the vegetables break down and everything, that's going to help add some more liquid. I'm also gonna add water to the mix. I'm gonna add organic carrot because carrots are high in vitamin A. Vitamin A is a powerful antioxidant. Carrots are highly anti-inflammatory. Not only does it contain vitamin A, but these carotenoids have polyphenol and antioxidant capabilities that protect the skin against aging and free radical exposure, protects it against the sun and UV damage. So I'm just gonna break that up, put it in the smoothie, and then set my scale to 0. And I'm gonna go ahead and add that 90 grams or so of the greens, the baby chard, and the kale. I might get up to, ooh, this is actually getting a little, right, okay, so that's 60 grams. Maybe I will add this kale. I need to use up these greens because I don't want them to go bad. I don't really like throwing out vegetables. Kale raw is a little spicy, believe it or not, so I don't put a ton in my green smoothies. Let's see, that's about that's 87.5. So let's get up to about 100 grams, just so I can have a good serving size of vegetables in this. Spinach, these leafy greens contain, again, they contain polyphenols, they contain a high amount of vitamin A, they contain a high amount of vitamin K2. K2 is really great at regulating, 500% of your daily value of K2 in two servings. K2 is great at regulating the amount of calcium, the appropriate amounts of calcium into your bone. And so as time moves on, you definitely want to make sure that the calcium is getting into your bone and maintaining bone strength. And vitamin D is also really important. Vitamin D3 is really important to also maintaining bone health and the calcium regulation. Also contains high amounts of vitamin C, greens. Vitamin C, also another powerful antioxidant in its pure natural form contained within foods, is stable, and it's great for, vitamin C is great for collagen synthesis and protecting your collagen in your skin, and protecting your skin from UV and free radical damage from things like pollutants in your environment. All right, so I have my vegetables in. One thing else that I'm gonna add is, banana. So I don't normally always add a whole banana, but seeing how, just because of the sugar, I don't want the sugar, but seeing how I didn't eat breakfast and I also don't have a avocado to improve the smoothness of this, I'm just gonna add the banana in there, the whole banana. Bananas are high in potassium and your electrolytes, so great if you are an athlete or you're working out and you need your extra electrolytes, you know, that's a great food to have. I'm also using organic ground flaxseed. Flaxseed is it's a seed, but it's high in ALA, which is omega-3 fatty acid. Omega-3 fatty acids are extremely anti-inflammatory. They also nourish the skin from the inside out. They are great at potentially protecting the skin against photo damage, UV damage, but just a great nourishing fat to have. And there are different types of omega-3s. So plant-based omega-3s are ALA, DHA and EPA come from animals, they come from fish. I try to have a good balance of ALA and DHA and EPA just so I can have that mix. And they have different benefits, but overall, omega-3 fatty acids are highly anti-inflammatory, so I try to include that. Also flaxseed, I also use chia seeds sometimes. I don't have any on hand at least I don't think I do. I might have some, but also great omega-3 fatty acid, better omega-3 and omega-6 balance in chia seeds, so I try to mix it up a little bit. This is a lot more omega-3s than omega-6s, so just depends on, I think just like mixing it up and having some moderation, having a varied diet is really important. But also high in fiber, 4 grams of fiber for a serving, which is 17 grams. Let's go ahead and measure that out, 17. I also use this sometimes in oatmeal for breakfast. I add 17 grams of ground flaxseed in my oatmeal along with walnuts. Also, walnuts are high in omega-3s. They're also kind of high in omega-6s. All nuts really are. All right, so what else? Before I add the ice, I'm also gonna add a couple of spices. So I'm gonna be using these organic cinnamon and turmeric. Cinnamon, great for possibly supporting blood sugar and also highly anti-inflammatory, and turmeric, very anti-inflammatory. This becomes bioavailable. It has curcumin, which is the anti-inflammatory component in here, and antioxidant component. Becomes much more bioavailable when you pair it with black pepper. So that's what I'm gonna do. Add a little bit of black pepper just in case to improve bioavailability. Also, both spices are high in antioxidants, so you're getting extra antioxidant protection that will hopefully also protect your telomeres, your cells, your skin from UV, from radiation, from pollutants in your environment. So I try to add just a little extra protection with these spices. You don't need a lot. I mean, I just basically eyeball it, and I used to do like a half a teaspoon each in my smoothies, but that's way too much. So I cut down to about 1/4 of a teaspoon each. And I think that's plenty. Again, the turmeric is super anti-inflammatory, great spice to include in your diet. I would suggest, or at least for me, I love Indian food. Indian food uses a lot of curry, uses a lot of turmeric, and it uses a lot of spices, anti-inflammatory spices. I would highly recommend getting into sort of Indian cooking and Indian food recipes because those are extremely anti-inflammatory. Those are going to be great foods to have or incorporate into your diet. All right, just a little bit of black pepper. It doesn't really come through, so you can't really taste the black pepper in the final smoothie. I'm also gonna add a little bit of organic coconut oil. So coconut oil, I don't really add this for any sort of anti-inflammatory benefit, but coconut oil is high in medium chain triglycerides, which are a type of fat that your body utilizes fairly quickly. There is some research to suggest that it may improve weight loss efforts, which is not why I'm using it. Okay, so I've added the ice, and what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna go ahead and blend this. I have my tamper, so I'm gonna blend this in my Vitamix, and then I will meet you after. So one thing that you can do if you like sweet smoothies where you don't wanna add extra sugar beyond the strawberry, you can also put blueberries, raspberries, strawberries in there. I think those berries would probably be better. Those are also anti-inflammatory, high superfoods, high in antioxidants, and those are also lower in sugar than banana. But if you need extra sweetness to increase the palatability of the smoothie, you can always add just a packet of stevia in there. That's plenty, and that's going to really improve the taste and improve just like if you feel like you can't get it down for any reason, you can definitely add that packet of stevia or just a little bit to taste. I'm not gonna do that because I just like the sweetness from the banana, but you do you, and whatever helps you get your vegetables in, I think that's gonna be fantastic. I'm gonna go ahead and blend this up, and then I will see you in a minute with my final product. Alrighty, so I have blended it all together. This one's actually, ooh, actually smells quite good. The banana makes it smell like an actual smoothie. This is really good. It's a little bit more liquidy than I'm used to. I think I probably put in either a little bit too much ice or a little bit too much almond milk, but oh, you know why it's more liquidy? Because I don't have the avocado. Yeah, that makes it a lot more smoother and smoothie-like. So yeah, pretty good. I don't think I would need the stevia at all. This is a great way to get in several servings of vegetables in one sitting. I'm probably going to just drink on this for a little bit while I'm at the computer editing and writing and things like that. One thing I didn't mention is that when I was blending it, I also added this organic amla powder. This is high in vitamin C. Again, vitamin C, great antioxidant, 28% of your daily value of vitamin C in half a teaspoon. I added half a teaspoon, just boosting that level of vitamin C up, that vitamin C intake. Again, vitamin C is great for collagen synthesis, protecting collagen, protecting elastin, protecting the skin from UV radiation and photo damage, and also just a great antioxidant for other biological functions. Love amla powder. I also use this in my henna hair mask that I use occasionally, so great ingredient. But I'm gonna go ahead and drink this, and I will see you at either dinner or maybe I'll have a snack in between. Okay, you know what? It is 2 o'clock in the afternoon and I am getting a little peckish, so I am gonna have a snack. I think I'm gonna do the Catalina Crunch keto-friendly cereal. I've had this on my blog before, but it's the cinnamon toast cereal. This isn't necessarily anti-inflammatory, but it is keto-friendly and you're not getting the sugar. So the sugar is what leads to inflammation in the body, and if you can swap out some of your favorite items, even just one item that you eat that's a junk food with something that doesn't have sugar in it, that would probably go a long way and have just accumulated benefits over time. But this is 0 sugar, good macronutrient profile, protein 11 grams and 9 grams of fiber. So I think that's what sort of makes it keto friendly. But this is vegan and there's no sugar alcohols, which I think is excellent. It's just sweetened with stevia and monk fruit extract, and the flour that they use is pea protein. Pea protein, potato fiber, corn fiber, chicory root fiber, so a little bit of tapioca flour. It looks like 9 grams of fiber, 14 grams of carbohydrate. I think for a serving, which is 36 grams, that's about 5 grams of net carbs, which is totally fine for me. I'm personally not super adherent to the keto diet, but I do eat. I'm not super adherent to the keto diet necessarily, but I do eat, again, like junk food. That is keto, just so I'm not getting that extra sugar and carbohydrates and refined carbohydrates. Alrighty, it is 6:15, so I'm gonna go ahead and make dinner. Oh, gotta turn on the fake sun. Let's see what we actually have. I think I'm gonna make a blue apron meal. I think I'll make this one. Ooh. Sheet pan miso ginger salmon. It looks like everything in this recipe sheet is anti-inflammatory, like every single thing. So this has salmon, sweet potatoes, and green beans. Let me go ahead and get out the ingredients. Sweet potatoes, high in vitamin A, extremely anti-inflammatory, more so than white potatoes. White potatoes are actually pro-inflammatory, and it doesn't have as much nutrients as sweet potatoes, which is high in vitamin A. The salmon, high in omega-3 fatty acids. Omega-3s like DHA and EPA, which are high in salmon and fish. Very, very anti-inflammatory and have other benefits, which I'll explain later. And let's see, what else do we need for this dish? Oh, right here, here's the packet. Seared pan miso ginger salmon. Do we need any greens? Oh, green beans. Let me see if I have that in here. Here we go. I'm gonna go ahead and just open the package of all the ingredients. So I love sambal au lake. Super spicy, but the flavor is incredible, and I love the spice. Spice is actually really great at improving circulation, and most salty, spicy ingredients are also anti-inflammatory. Okay, so let me just do a breakdown of the products. We have ginger. So ginger root is not only highly anti-inflammatory, but it also has antioxidant components, and at least in animal studies, it has been shown to inhibit the loss of elasticity in the skin caused by UVB damage. This also has honey. I'm not going to be using the honey just because of the sugar. It's not really anti-inflammatory. I don't really think that it matters for this dish. I think it adds a little bit of flavor. I just don't want the sugar personally. Sugar can lead to skin aging in the sense that it can link up to proteins and cause advanced glycation end products and yada yada yada. So I tried to lower my sugar content as much as possible. Looks like we have sweet miso paste, samba ole. Also, this not only being anti-inflammatory also has a bunch of spices in here that are probably antioxidant rich. Black and white sesame seeds. See what else we have? Sesame oil and rice vinegar. But getting to the vegetables, I mean, green beans, obviously most green vegetables are anti-inflammatory. And sweet potatoes, like I said previously, sweet potatoes are highly, highly anti-inflammatory. Not only that, I mean, in comparison to white potatoes, not only that, sweet potatoes they're high in carotenoids, and vitamin A. These have shown consistently to protect the skin from UV damage, may even act as an antioxidant to protect against other free radical exposures, oxidation, oxidative stress, things like that. So carotenoids are actually found in human skin. So when you're younger, you have a bunch of carotenoids, among other factors, like enzymes, endogenous enzymes and antioxidants that protect your skin from UV, from the sun, from outside elements. But as time goes on, carotenoids in the skin decline along with other things like ceramides, like hydration factors and things like that. So it has been shown that consumption of vitamin A can be integrated into the human skin, or it can increase the not only serum and plasma levels of vitamin A, but also the accumulation of vitamin A in the skin. So eating more vitamin A rich foods like sweet potatoes or any leafy green vegetable is going to have a lot of vitamin A in there. You're going to be getting that healthy vitamin A. Vitamin A is fat soluble though, so you have to pair it with some fat, like some oil. This recipe actually has sesame oil in here, so that's going to help absorb that vitamin A. And what else? We also have the salmon. Now, if you're a vegan, I do apologize for this, but just to give you an overview, salmon is high in omega-3 fatty acids, namely EPA and DHA, and these are not typically found in plants. So like flaxseed, chia seeds, that will contain higher amounts of ALA, which is another omega-3 fatty acid, all of which are highly, highly anti-inflammatory and anti-aging. There is some research to suggest that omega-3s like EPA and DHA have beneficial effects on skin hydration and may even protect the skin against UV as well. So it's kind of like providing nutrients and nutrition from the inside out. And the idea, at least in my mind, when I eat omega-3s, is that it provides some extra hydration inside and from the inside out to my skin because it is very lubricating and very hydrating. The other thing about omega-3s is particularly DHA and EPA found pretty much only in fish in higher amounts. There was a study that I was reading recently where researchers found that these omega-3 fatty acids also protect the telomeres, which are found at the end of chromosomes, and these protect the chromosomes from fraying. But there was research to suggest that the intake of these omega-3 fatty acids from fish can protect those telomeres and may even provide telomere lengthening. So over time, the telomeres get shorter and shorter, and then they just sort of fray all together in the chromosomes. And that's sort of the theory of aging and longevity, is that these telomeres just become shorter and shorter, and they just dissipate, and the chromosomes are damaged. There's anti-aging research to suggest that if there's ways to protect those telomeres, then that can help improve longevity or improve the chances of longevity and well-being over time. So omega-3s are great. The only thing about fish is that, unfortunately, because of our environment today, fish are higher in mercury than other products out there. In fact, they're fairly high in mercury. I mean, I don't think you're supposed to eat fish while you're pregnant. Maybe, correct me if I'm wrong, because of the mercury content. I think salmon is a little bit lower on the list, but it's still something that I try to limit to at least once a week or every other week. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Alrighty, preheat to 450. Remove the honey from the refrigerator, and I'm probably just gonna throw it away. No, I'm just kidding. I probably will use this. I might save this and use it for something else, like a bigger recipe where it can just sort of be divided out, or stretched out longer or further. And let's see, half the sweet potatoes lengthwise, then cut crosswise. So lengthwise and then cut crosswise into 1/4 inch pieces. Okay, and then cut off and discard the stem ends from the green beans. peel the ginger and grate finely on a box grater. And then add all that together, blah, blah, blah. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and do the prep and I will see you in a minute. Okay, so I've gone ahead and prepared everything, cut everything up, and I mixed the ginger with the miso and the mirin. Also mixed the sambo oleic with the vinegar. One thing that I did that's different, that I'm sort of venturing off from the recipe, is I had some leftover onion, red onion, as well as red bell pepper. So I sliced those up. I'm gonna add this to the recipe because these are also extremely anti-inflammatory as well. In addition, the red bell peppers also has those carotenoids and vitamin C, really high in vitamin C too, which is great for collagen synthesis and protection of the skin. Also onion, garlic, these foods can activate the NRF2 pathway, which helps to lower oxidative stress in the body. So great anti-aging food. Highly recommend onions, incorporating that and garlic into, at least that's what I do. I try to just incorporate onions, garlic, and other sulfur containing foods like Brussels sprouts, cabbage, kale, things like that, broccoli sprouts into my diet so I can get that NRF2 activation and reduced oxidative stress, reduce inflammation. Okay, so it says in the recipe sheet that I am to place the sweet potatoes onto a sheet. So I will do that. There we go. Lovely orange carotenoids. Oh, that's a lot of sweet potatoes. Do you see that? Goodness gracious. I don't even know if it's gonna be even because I'm placing the onion and the bell peppers on here as well. So look at that beautiful color though. Can you see it? Hold on. Let me make room so you can actually see it. Look at that lovely color. So we have the sweet potatoes, the orange sweet potatoes, the purple onion, as well as the red. You really want to reach for, aside from, anti-inflammatory foods, you really want to reach for vegetables, foods that contain a lot of color, a lot of vibrancy to them. Because that color is the antioxidants, the polyphenols, that's going to be your nutrients, that's going to indicate to you that these are quote unquote superfoods. And I try to incorporate varied colored, brightly colored, deep, rich, dark colored vegetables as well into my nutrition plan. Not only do I really love vegetables, but I just like to get those antioxidants in. You're also getting the fiber and the other vitamins and nutrients and things like that. And mostly, for the most part, all vegetables, all deeply, brightly colored vegetables are going to be anti-inflammatory as well. So you won't really have to worry about that on that score, unless you're looking at like white potatoes or corn. That tends to be on the more pro-inflammatory side. All right, so drizzle with olive oil. Got my olive oil here. I have to take a sip of my cranberry mocktail that I made. I used 100% cranberry juice so I don't get the sugar. I also mixed it with lime juice and this Zevia mixer. It's a non-alcoholic, sugar-free, calorie-free, carbonated mixer drink. They also have tonic water, which I like, but I haven't been able to find it in the store lately, so I don't know what's going on with that. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and drizzle this with olive oil. Just eyeball it, as Rachel Ray would say. It might be too much. I tend to be either heavy-handed or too light. And then, I think I was probably heavy-handed this time around. Then I'll just toss it. Usually I use my hands, but I wanna be a little bit more dainty in the video. I might actually get in there with my hands in just a minute. Salt and pepper. Since there's a lot of vegetables in here, I'm gonna pepper it. Probably do a lot of pepper in this because I really like pepper. Pepper isn't, I don't think black pepper is super anti-inflammatory. It's a great adjunct to include, especially if you're using other spices like turmeric, which has curcumin in it. Turmeric is highly anti-inflammatory, but absorption or bioavailability is enhanced when you add black pepper. So in that instance, just because something is pro-inflammatory doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be bad for you. There are some benefits. I mean, inflammation, I think there's roles for inflammation in the body just biologically and for health and wellness. It's the excessive inflammation that is the contributor to a lot of ills. So obviously not going overboard, but doing what you can with your diet, I think plays a huge impact in just longevity and longitudinal health and well-being and healthy aging and you know, just prevention of certain diseases. At least that's what I believe based upon what I've read and the research that I've read about and written about. So that should, I think it actually needs a little bit more oil. Do that. Okay, that should be enough. Let me get in there with my hands. Yeah, it's not going to be an even layer, but hopefully it will all cook thoroughly. I didn't want to do it on 2 separate pans because I don't think they would both fit. I don't know, I think this will be fine. So I'm going to go ahead and get this in the oven. I think it says it needs to be in there for about 20 minutes. So I will do that, and meanwhile I will pat the fish dry. All right, so I'm patting the fish dry. I turned on a little overhead lighting, so you might notice some difference in the lighting here. But going to pat this dry. I think I know when you're doing fish on the stovetop, or any sort of chicken or meat or anything like that, you want to, I think what I've read is that patting it dry helps to reduce sort of like explosions on the stovetop. I'm not sure. I guess it also helps with the cooking process in the oven too. I don't know. All right, so I transferred this on a separate sheet pan, skin side down. So I'm assuming it means these silver scales right here. Isn't that a beautiful color though? I think that's gorgeous. All right, so I'm gonna transfer this over skin side down like this on one side of a sheet pan, using a smaller one for this. See, I'll put it a little bit closer. There we go. Place the green beans, evenly top with the miso ginger glaze. All right, so that's gonna be this right here. Just put a little dollop on both sides and just smooth it up. Are you getting any sort of like ASMR action here? I know there's videos out on YouTube where it's like unintended ASMR. Somebody said to me once, like, oh, your videos are so relaxing. And that's not necessarily my goal, but I am glad that you are relaxed by my videos and by my voice. And I should just do like cooking videos every week. Would you be okay with like once a week cooking videos? It would have to be on theme though, like health, nutrition, something like that. All right, so that's evenly spread on. Now it says place the green beans on the other side of the sheet pan and then drizzle with the olive oil. Maybe I should have used a bigger sheet pan for this one too. All right, drizzle with the sesame oil, right? Did I say that? Oh, you know what I didn't do? I didn't season the vegetables in the oven, the sweet potato with salt and pepper. I'll have to do that. So drizzle that with sesame oil. Toss, I'll just use my hands for this. And add salt and pepper, which I'll do right now. Here's the salt. I feel like not a lot of salt comes out of here, so I have to be very aggressive. And so I'm just gonna, again, eyeball the salt maybe. I don't worry too much about salts. You need salt to live. Sodium is a necessary nutrient. Sugar, on the other hand, you definitely don't need to live. I mean, yeah, you definitely don't need sugar. But that being said, a lot of people today eat processed foods, which is high in sodium. So salt can be a foe to many people. But me personally, because I just make my own recipes, the only salt I'm getting is what's in the recipe, and it's not added salt, additional salts to improve or increase the palatability further, like in processed foods. All right, so there we go. Okay, so here is the pre-cooked product. It says put it in the oven for 10 to 13 minutes. So I guess it could go in right now because it's already at the 13-minute mark on the other vegetables. So I'll do that now. I'll let it cook and then I will be back. All right, so the timer went off. So let's go ahead and see what everything looks like. Ooh, oh my goodness, foggy. Can you see it? Can you see everything? Okay, there we go. Ooh, wow, that looks gorgeous actually. Look at those colors. All right, so let me see, what does it say? It says remove from the oven. So I guess we're removing everything from the oven. And then we're going to transfer the roasted sweet potatoes to the bowl of sambal dressing and toss to coat with salt and pepper. Alrighty. Okay. There's that. There's the vegetables. Gorgeous. And here is the salt, or the green beans and the fish, which you probably, I guess you can see it quite. Alrighty. The green beans look gorgeous. Let me actually just show it to you. Look at those green beans. I feel like it's Thanksgiving. Alrighty. So instead of transferring the sweet potatoes to a bowl, I'm just going to apply the sambal oelek straight on the pan. And then I will toss to coat. As you can tell, there are no grains like rice or pasta or anything like that. I tend to shy away from eating grains, pasta, rice. I have to always have a disclaimer there because people think I'm saying greens with some weird accent apparently. But no, grains, corn, which I consider a grain, and pasta, rice, you know, crackers, bread, cookies, etc. If it's not, you know, keto or grain-free or paleo, then I typically don't eat it, but this looks pretty good. I mean, I'm still getting a good sized portion of carbs in this. You know, this isn't keto by any means, but I'm getting some healthy energy, that's for sure, with this, and I think it's gonna be good. I think that is because I have expanded it a little bit with some like pepper and the bell pepper and the onion. The sambal is going to have a slight spiciness, but it's going to be stretched out enough that it won't be overbearing. I actually prefer spicy foods. I think this will be a crowd pleaser, even though I'm the only one that's going to be eating this. So, all right, time to serve. All right, here's the final product. I worked hard for this, so I'm quite proud of it. It looks gorgeous, doesn't it? Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and eat my dinner. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked sort of seeing what I eat in a day type of videos, let me know down below by liking this video. Leave a comment as well. If you like these types of videos and you're not subscribed, please subscribe. I can do more of these videos for you in the future. I'd be happy to do that. All right, so I'm gonna go eat and I will see you in the next vlog. Bye.